I have to say, I've always appreciated it when Trigger would make reference to some of their older works or some of the other projects that they've worked for the previous company, because Trigger was made from employees of Gainax. Last time I think they made reference to Gurren Lagann was back with Space Patrol Luluko in the final episode, and the whole ship and them crossing their arms just flying into battle. And there is a promotional image that one of the animators for Little Witch Academia released before this episode, which you're seeing on the image that I have on the TV screen here in the very middle. That was a like promo art of literally standing on the ship with their arms crossed, which is a Gurren Lagann pose, and I absolutely loved it. This episode was literally, it was a Mecha episode. There was some kind of like Gundam references, but there was some old Gainax references throughout this episode. Obviously, if you've never watched Gurren Lagann, you're not going to pay notice to them, and you're just going to think it's another mecha, but just the entire ship, the transformation into the robot, like minus the name being a Gundam, this was Gurren Lagann reference, and I love it when Trigger references their old work. They do it a lot. Space Patrol Luluko had references of every single series that they've done, but I love seeing it. I think for that reason alone, this is probably my favorite episode of Little Witch Academia. It's very interesting to see that now they're starting to focus on some of the one-off side characters who you would probably think wouldn't get an episode. Like the very beginning of the series, it was focused on side characters more than Akko. It was, you know, developing like the main central side characters, the people who hang around Akko, but then it started focusing more on Akko and her development, and now we're getting back into the swing of things of focusing on some of the side characters we never did. Amanda last week, and now Constance this week. I think that's what her name is. If not, forgive me. But essentially, I liked it. I mean, she's a silent character. She doesn't speak. She has a robot speak for her, and the entire episode is her just denying access. She's like, I'm gonna do this by myself, launching Akko up, which she has like a Dexter's Lab like set up down below underneath her bed. It's awesome. Dexter's Lab was a really cool show, and I don't think they're referencing Dexter's Lab. I mean, there's plenty of shows and just products that have like the hidden secret lab underneath, but Dexter's Lab is what I got the vibe of, and I always thought that was a cool cartoon back in the day. So I really liked how, you know, you press a button, the bed flips, she goes down a tube, and then this is grand like secret lab. It's just very entertaining to watch, and how Akko just like keeps saying like, I'm gonna help this girl no matter what, and eventually the reason she accepts her help is because she gets an item that she was denied, and ultimately she gets the items that she can't get, and then they build this grand ship, and then of course this whole festival gets ruined because Crux herself is doing some evil deed. She's trying to capture energy, and of course Ursula's like, what are you doing? And really, you would think Ursula would just tell people, you know, the headmistress, like, hey, I see this shit happening, some crazy stuff's happening, she's evil. But of course, this is a very predictable series. It's the typical, she's gonna have this big grand evil plan, and then of course our heroes are gonna save the day. This was never gonna be like a complex series in the sense of like story progression. The main complexity is just how it hides themes and just ideas underneath it. But of course, like the characters overall are very typical and predictable, but it's still enjoyable. But you do look at what she's doing, for how long her evil plan has been scheming, and Ursula knows what's happening. You would expect she would mention it to someone else, even if it would mean revealing her identity, you would think. But overall, this was a pretty fun episode, a very basic episode, and the past few episodes have been rather basic, but I did like the characterization we get to a side character who I completely forgot the name of because we hadn't focused on her like for the past how many weeks at this point. But I like seeing it's developing some of the side characters, so by the time this series does wrap up, it doesn't feel like faces that we focused on were left out. They at least had one episode, and I'll be interested to see how many more we're gonna focus on before Akko gets the final spells. And just overall, I thought it was a pretty good looking episode to look at. The art and animation was consistent for the second half of Little Witch, and overall it was just very enjoyable if for the references alone. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Was this your favorite episode, or was it just an okay episode for yourself, or just an enjoyable one? Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below, and before you leave, smack that like button to share your support. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.